Okay, so we will jump right into the next panel, which is one of the issues where we have evoked at several occasions today, namely inequalities, the rising trend of inequalities. My name is Jepsen, and I direct the research department at the ETUI. So I think there's going to be a lot of evidence put up in terms of how the trends of inequalities are running forward, so I won't brush too much on that. But let's say this way, inequalities was a very political and academic hot focal point before the crisis. I mean, the publications that came out from the ILO and as well as the OECD in 2008 on inequalities very much pushed this issue to the forefront once again. There was a big focus on the 1%. So the high earners, how there was a divide between the highly qualified professionals being able actually to gain from globalization and technological change, whereas low-skilled and medium earners as well were less able to actually gain from globalization and technological changes. Now, this evidence was somewhat disputed in terms of what was causing the rising inequalities, and a host of issues were put on the table. But basically, there was a very high focus on how high earners were able to profit or benefit from the globalization and technological changes. Now, as the crisis is kind of lingering on, not stopping, continuing its own slow way forward, the emphasis has come back on inequalities again, with the publications coming out of the OECD again and from the European Commission, but this time more emphasizing the fact that we have to take care of the bottom end of the income distribution. So there's more focus on it now. But basically the trends are inequalities are rising in most countries, not all. And we might get back to some of these issues afterwards. Now, it's true that ETUI does not come out with a host of studies saying, well, income distributions and wage distributions and so forth, but basically inequalities is very much the foundation of the work that ETUI is doing every day. Looking at it more in terms of what's going on with regard to policy changes, with regard to regulations and institutions. So what we are looking at is not so much the outcome of inequalities, but much more the causes that actually provoke growing inequalities across the European Union. We're looking at working conditions, we look at how workers can be represented, we look very much on labor market developments, social protection, wages of course, and lately we have a huge focus of course on all the labor law developments, workers' rights and changes in company law that are actually introducing new types of inequalities in our societies. So, we don't have the publication as in the former session, but in 1 month, and we want to give you an appetizer today, we will have our annual publication Benchmarking Work in Europe 2012, and it will be on inequalities this year. So many colleagues came back to me and said, why inequalities? This is what we do each year. True, because that's one of our main themes as a research institute, but this year we really wanted to put to the forefront in terms of the issue of inequalities and very much link it up to changes in regulation, labor market conditions, and institutions that are being set up.